Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and all of these questions were filmed Thursday, November 13th, right before we went live for Thursday Night Football. Now, every single question that you see is from a loyal subscriber, from somebody that tunes into all of our live shows, and friendly reminder that I'm going to be live not just an hour, but 90 minutes early before Monday Night Football. Raiders Report, Cowboys Report, and an epic battle. First question coming in here from Chad Jacobs. If we start over this offseason, I think we should hire Mike LaFleur, Josh McCown, Vince Karras, DC from Toledo. It's a McCoy Kubiak system. I'll tell you, I mean, you're definitely speaking my language in terms of McVay and Kubiak. I know that Josh McCown is definitely respected more. What's crazy is, like, you look at this resume here, and that resume doesn't compare to what we have technically from a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator standpoint. But just because it doesn't compare doesn't mean that it's not better. And I really hope Mark Davis and this regime start to realize, like, we need new, young, innovative guys, not people that still wait for the newspaper to get their news. Let's go to Bayou Raider. What up, Bayou? Perfect coaching trio you would want. Mitch and Chugs. And don't hate on Louisiana. I got to meet Bayou Raider. He was a real one and very, very nice gentleman. It looks just like how you think he sounds, too. Hilarious guy. But perfect trio right now, I think it's really hard to be able to sit up here because, like, if I could say I can get any head coach that I want, that's like an actual possibility. There's a part of me that would love the idea of somebody like a Clint Kubiak. There is like a Jesse Minter, I think, is a very intriguing option. You know, in terms of like OCDC, I just really haven't done a lot of the deep diving that I want to be able to do. But there is going to be a lot of candidates out there, and I'll start putting out more and more videos. But it's probably something that I should do more homework on if we're being 100% honest. But I'll take just about anything over what we got right now. Let's go to 403 Pardo. On a positive note, love what I'm seeing from Stokes and Porter lately. Play the rookies, Pete. If you want the Raiders to play the rookies more, put that down in the comment section. Play the rookies, Pete, because I think we all do. And I think we're going to see, I'm hoping we see Caleb Rogers. There's been some rumors around that, though. Dylan Parham is on track to play, which I did not think that was going to happen. And it sounds like Parham's going to stay at left guard. And, you know, Caleb Rogers and Alex Kappa could potentially be battling out there for that right guard position. But if there has been one really good signing that we really haven't given a lot of love to because of how bad the Raiders have been, is the Eric Stokes signing. I mean, the Eric Stokes signing is so underappreciated because we're not getting a lot of pressure. Now, you can make the argument like teams are just not throwing that way because they know, like, hey, if I target Devin White, it's going to be a catch. If I target Kaya Blue Kelly, it's going to be a catch. If I target certain players in that Raiders defense, it's going to be a catch. So, like, I get it. But also, in a season that's got a lot of clouds over it, I would love for the Silver and Black to bring back Eric Stokes. Quite frankly, I think it should be one of our top priorities this offseason to find a way to bring back Eric Stokes. Let's go to Zorro the Raider. Thoughts on us trading for Kyler Murray? I feel like I talk about this a lot, like when I'm randomly going live. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. Like, to me, he is a talented quarterback, and I understand that his contract, depending on how you look at it, you know, it's not terrible, right? Like, I think about how the Raiders could potentially give Geno Smith, it could technically be like a 1-year, $58 million contract, and Kyler Murray on an average basis is making about $55 million per year. The biggest reason why I am team no on Kyler Murray is because he's not a good leader. And that's what this team needs. Like, you know, not only is Geno Smith not doing a good job on the field, but I don't know how good of a job he's doing off the field either as being that leader that the Raiders need. He's liked in that locker room. I'm not saying he's not liked. He is still well liked, and he's still respected in that locker room. But right now, the body language, everything that Geno says, it doesn't really hit me of, hey, you know what? Like, that's the leader. Like, that's the franchise. Because if you're going to go out and trade for Kyler Murray and he goes up to the podium, people are going to, like, I want my next quarterback, when he stands up at the podium, everybody listens the same way you all listen to Max Crosby. Because Max Crosby deserves that. And Kyler, again, talented guy. But I don't even think he's a top 15 quarterback, top 16 quarterback. So, I'm going to go with the no. This is going to be, though, the pinned comment here on today's program. So y'all are about to get hit with that YouTube ad break. Scroll on down and let me know. Should the Raiders trade for Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray next season? My answer is no. It doesn't make sense to me personally for the Raiders because you just try to go out and get Geno Smith. And if you actually look at 2024 tape, Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. I don't want to keep doing this. The guy fails in one spot, and we think that we can fix him over here. I want the Raiders to go out and draft a quarterback. I want y'all to draft a quarterback in the first round, in the second round, a quarterback that this franchise can have hope for the beginning, because we haven't had that. And at this point, that's what I want. What up, drama? Where is J.J. Pegues? Well, he's not underneath the table. He did actually finally get some opportunities to play last week, which I was happy about. And, I mean, damn it, he should have. But I think the way that the Raiders are really operating this season, and I forget who said it earlier on one of our programs, but they're like, it's almost like it's a redshirt year. And you look at a lot of our rookies, and you look at a guy like JJ, Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, Tonka Hemingway, Cody Lindenberg. It kind of seems like a redshirt year. Now, Dante, Jack, a lot of these other guys are kind of getting it going now, but what's concerning to me is the Raiders' defensive tackle room was terrible, and it's been terrible with the loss of Christian Wilkins, and Thomas Booker has slowed down a little bit. But what's concerning to me is it's like, again, you're just not using your players properly. Like, if you're not going to play Tyree Wilson consistently as a 3-tech, as a defensive tackle, well, then let's play the guys that we drafted in the 4th and 6th round, especially for a 2-7 team. And I'm just hoping we start to see a little bit more and more of that as the season goes on. Is there any chance we are going to see Laki Tassi and Grant on Monday? Tassi was actually a player that I talked about of, like, I would just like to see him get promoted. He did a good job in the preseason, and I don't necessarily mean like Laki Tassi as a starting offensive lineman, but there is a part of me at times where I think about this offense and could you line him up at fullback? I don't know. Could you put him out on the field as an extra offensive lineman? I don't know. But what I do know is we get our shit pushed in every single time on the interior when we need to try to gain a yard, which is why it's even more dumb that Chip Kelly called a quarterback sneak on 3rd down and 2. That's a whole nother story, though. But in terms of Charles Grant, I would like to see Charles Grant out there more than I would like to see Caleb Rogers. If it was up to me, and this is an offensive line that I talked about, I would actually kick DJ Glaze to right guard. I would then put Caleb Rogers at left guard. Now, I didn't expect Dylan Parham to play, so if Parham's healthy to play, he should be out there, and Rogers would be the last guy or the 6-man, 7th-man kind of battling out with Kappa. But I would personally be on board with either putting Charles Grant at left tackle or Charles Grant at right tackle, kick DJ Glaze in, and you just put Stone Forsythe on the opposite side. But here's the thing, man. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do on that offensive line. And it's going to be interesting to see on Monday Night Football because they have a really, really tough test. And I also got my lineup here on Prize Picks for Monday night. We'll show it to you in just a second. And if you're like, Mitch, what are you talking about? Well, I got started with America's #1 fantasy sports app out there. It's known as Prize Picks. You've probably heard about them because the weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right, that never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app. Copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, me, or someone whose picks you like, hit that follow button to check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Now, my lineup for Monday Night Football, I wanted to be able to show you guys the difference between a flex play and a power play, and that's just something that I love about Prize Picks because how you play is up to you. If you want to go flex play, that's kind of the option I typically go with. Power play, though, is I feel confident, and I'm going to roll with it. And, yeah, I'm going with a lot of lessons for the Raiders. I'm going to go more on the Cowboys side because that's just the way that this season is gone. Now, I'm not going to actually root for that to happen because I do want the Raiders to obviously win this football game, and we need all of those things probably to be more. But you know what? If the Raiders win, I'm going to be a happy guy. If my Prize Picks lineups hits, I'm going to be a happy guy. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups. And to play your first $5 lineup, that's code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's go to Sean. What's going on, Sean? Chugs, is C.J. Stroud playing this week? If not, I got to use Jacoby Brissett in fantasy. Chugs is doing this. He was rolled out with a concussion. He's still been experiencing those concussion-like symptoms. And what's really interesting is the Texans have a Thursday night game this upcoming week. So no Chugs next week on Thursday Night Football. I'll probably have Reed here. But, to miss 2 games, I would hope that he's able to go next week. We'll see, though. Robert Jansen, what's up, man? So we're going to shit the bed again in 2026. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know why you're saying we're going to. Like, just because the Raiders are probably going to keep Geno Smith next year doesn't mean that Geno Smith is going to be the starter for the entire season. It's just kind of the way that the contract works out. And I made a video today. You guys will see it over the weekend of, some stuff around Geno. I'll just leave it like that. But hopefully we draft everything because we just have so many holes. And I mean it when I say, I think next year the Raiders have to try to replace, at minimum, 10 to 11 starters. And when you have that many holes, luckily you have all your money in free agency. Luckily you got a lot of other stuff, for the draft, 10 picks. But I don't think that the Raiders are like the video that I put out today on the Raiders Report is probably why you're asking me this. I know for a fact the Raiders are interested in C.J. Carr. I'm not saying the Raiders are going to tank for C.J. Carr, and they're not going to, obviously an organization's not going to wait 2 years for a QB. But my whole thing about the whole C.J. Carr thing was I had sources telling me months ago, which I have mentioned on this show multiple times, that the Raiders have been looking at Carr. You see Tom Brady's statements, and then you just see the way that certain players' contracts are made on this team. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the video that I put out on Thursday about the Raiders looking at a quarterback. It's C.J. Carr, and when you watch that video, you're going to go, all right, I definitely see what the hell he's talking about. Oh, gee! What's up, man? You personally, who do you want, Carr or Mendoza, if given the chance? Because I got to wait for C.J. Carr until 2027, and again, he might not even come out that year. Pretty sure he's going to come out that year, but I'll take Mendoza. Unless you mean Derek Carr. If it's Derek Carr, then this is Mendoza, and it's not even close. I think Mendoza is the real deal. I just want to watch a little bit more tape on him, but I was super, super confident in Drake May, and it's going to be cool to be able to watch him on Thursday night. But, anybody that watched this program, Drake May was my guy. I had him ranked higher than Jaden. I had him ranked higher than Caleb. That was my guy because he had it up here. Mendoza's got it up here as well. And that's just a quality that it's really hard to be able to study. But I think when you can see it and that guy's cool, calm, and collected and can motivate the troops, that's what you need. That's what I want in a leader. And that's not Kyler Murray. Let's go to Christian Tate. Do you think we bring back Koonce again? God, I hope not. I hope not. I don't think he's any good. I don't think he's been good. Now, I should say this. If you can bring back Malcolm on a 1 year, $2 million contract, I'd entertain that idea. Anything more than that, though, I'm not interested. And it's kind of tough because there is a part of me that wonders. And I'll be honest. There is a part of me that wonders, will he be better in 2026? Because sometimes when you have an ACL, and I don't actually know everything else that happened to him and happened to his knee, but the same thing happened to me. I blew out my ACL, my LCL, my MCL, totally blew out my knee, meniscus and all. If you ever see my knee, I got all scars all over it. And it took me a little bit over a year to where I finally felt like, all right, man, I can move the way that I want to be able to move. And obviously, Malcolm Koonce is light years of an athlete than I could ever dream of. But I also, have been in his shoes of that ACL. And sometimes it's up here as well. It takes you a long time to gain confidence in. Malcolm Koonce looks like the way Malcolm Koonce looked like when McDaniels was coaching him. And I'm hoping it can be a quick switch because, we've seen how explosive of a player he can be. But right now, I think at this point, it's probably best for Malcolm to go somewhere else. And it's probably best for us to try to just find another defensive end. You guys can let me know, though, should the Raiders re-sign Malcolm Koonce? I want you to type S for sign, type P for pass. Again, and if you're typing your P for pass, don't be too scared. Don't be shy to do it. I really, really, truly hope when people watch this program, they give their honest opinion every single time they pull up here. Because that's how a community should be built, about being honest with each other. Let's go to Arctic Cruelty. What do you think of getting Caleb Downs, BPA, if he's there and really building a defense? I am all on board of the BPA, best player available, go out and get the best guy. I love Caleb Downs, and he is a phenomenal, phenomenal safety prospect. My concern with taking a safety as our best player available, I just don't think it's as important of a position. So because the Raiders have so many holes, like Caleb Downs is probably going to be one of the top players where I don't want the Raiders to pick him in the first round. And it's like, do we need a safety? Yeah, we absolutely positively do. But I would much rather go out, get an edge, go out, get somebody on the offensive line, go out, get somebody in the trenches, go out and get a quarterback. Downs might be the best player on the board. We'll kind of see how it ends up shaking out. But to me, the only way that I think the Raiders would get Downs is if they have a high draft pick, the Raiders trade back because they get some extra picks. And if Caleb Downs could be like one of your 2 first-round picks, I think that's a home run hit. Because when you find players like a Malachi Starks or a Kyle Hamilton, some of these very versatile safeties, they can really, truly change your defense. I made a post today talking about Gruden. Do you think if he was still the coach and still had DC, we would be in a better spot? I mean, I do think we would be in a better spot. I'm not saying that's saying anything great. Like, I still don't think – I don't know if we would have a playoff win with Derek Carr yet. Again, Gruden is a really, really fun guy to be able to watch, listen. Loved his unboxing of North Texas. We as a whole office today watched that and enjoyed it. And he's super fun. I've met Gruden before. Like, I know how awesome of a guy he is. But I have a really, really hard time figuring out why people want him back because – and I think it's probably because of how bad McDaniels was, how bad the Raiders have been since DC and Gruden have left. Like, I get how much of a disaster it's been. But at the same time, like, again, when you look at how this team needs to be rebuilt, we need to be built in the draft. Gruden failed at that. We need to build in free agency. Gruden failed at that. We need to be able to build through trades. Gruden failed at that. And he was good in the first half of the season. I know a lot of people like to point at the stat of, oh, the Raiders were moving in the right direction. I mean, you don't know that, though. Like, the Raiders were the Raiders every year under Gruden. They were really good the first half of the season, and then because, he was unable to make proper corrections because he was a little too old school, teams would catch up to us in the back half of the year, every single year. Carr stats would go down. Like, if you don't believe me, go back and look at it. But, like, again, I love Gruden. And I think if Gruden wants to get back into coaching, I would love for him to go to Arkansas. Like, I want him to go to college football, where he can be a star, and he will be a star in college football. And the NFL, I think it's past him. Daniel, so ready for Monday night. Daniel, bro, I can't wait, man. I'm super pumped for Monday Night Football. I know we're filming this tonight on, Thursday night, but Monday Night Football, Raiders, Cowboys, we're going to be going live 90 minutes before. Like, my wife's the biggest Cowboys fan. Chugs' wife, huge Cowboys fan. And this game means a lot to me, so much so that Alex is actually throwing a party at our house, inviting all of her friends over, and they're going to watch the game, and they're going to watch us, so there's probably a chance that some of Alex and her friends are going to be heckling us in the chat. All I ask is this. I don't know if we're going to be able to win on the field, but damn it, I want to be able to have fun on that show. And win, lose, or tie, I promise you this, on the Raiders Report on game days, we're going to have a good time.